Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to play Star Trek Judgment Rites. We'll be moving on to Mission 6. If you guys want to see the intro to Mission 6, then you can find it on the end of the last video for Mission 5. Yeah, the game doesn't give you any chance to save at the start of a mission. So anyway, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And we're going to skip that for copyright reasons.
Load a previously saved game.
All right.
All sensors are clear, Captain.
No word from Nova Attar, Captain.
Yeah, if you're not sure where to go, it's either Spock or Uhura that will tell you. Alright, I have to consult my guide, because there is no in-game map system other than this. Nova Attar is bottom left. Right there.
We've arrived at Nova Attar, Captain.
Bring us into standard orbit, Mr. Sewell.
Aye, Captain.
We are at Nova Attar.
Curator Brezhnev bids you to beam down at your pleasure.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Chekhov, come with me. Mr. Spock, you have the call.
Yeah, it's so weird seeing other members of the party beam down. In 25th anniversary,
Captain Kirk.
it was always Spock and McCoy.
I am Boris Brezhnev, curator of the museum. Everyone is buzzing about visitors from the Enterprise. A real feather in my cap.
The pleasure is ours, sir. This is my chief engineer, Mr. Scott, and Ensign Chekhov, our navigator.
Most pleased to meet you both. Chekhov, a fine name. I'm certain you will be interested in sampling the Kazakhstani cognac, distilled and blended by my family. In fact, I will later show you my most prized possession, a bottle of our finest vintage, aged 14 years from our very first pressing.
But isn't cognac French?
Originally, Mr. Scott. But before my ancestors came to settle this planet, they went to Cognac and purchased cuttings, brought them here, and made enhancements. You could say we reinvented Cognac. I do not wish to be rude, but you gentlemen are a bit early, and I must see to making certain the cleaning crews are finished working. Please, feel free to look about a bit. I will page you later, and maybe you will join me in a small toast before the ceremonies? Yes?
It would be our pleasure, curator.
I told you we invented it. Maybe we were a little hard on you, laddie.
Never doubted you for a second, Mr. Chekhov. Now let's take advantage of this time and look around.
This EVA suit was worn by Ivan Petrovsky, a late 21st century Terran astronaut, during the famous Commonwealth mission. Petrovsky used this suit to dock with the damaged spacecraft SS Commonwealth and saved the vessel from certain destruction in orbit around Mars.
Petrovsky. Isn't that a Russian name?
I don't think so, Mr. Chekhov.
I sincerely doubt it, laddie.
Really? I would have sworn it was Russian.
I'm sorry, this door is for museum personnel only. Have a nice day.
Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office, please. Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office.
I hope you enjoyed your tour, gentlemen. Please join me. Would you mind if the first toast with the Kazakhstanian was to the Enterprise?
Curator, why isn't that Brezhnev cognac?
For heaven's sakes, Chekhov, don't interrupt a man on the verge of toasting the best ship in the fleet with the finest cognac on this side of the galaxy.
My apologies.
Questions later, then. The toast. Here's to the starship enterprise. What could this be?
A conspiracy, if you ask me, Captain.
Let me pull this up on screen. They've destroyed my camera. Well, let's see how they deal with our other security systems.
Well, that's good.
He's unconscious, Captain.
Thanks, Mr. Chekhov. I was just thinking how useless it would have been for Dr. McCoy to have come with us.
Not much of a trap, really. Fixed it up with a wee change of wiring.
A monitoring and control station for museum security. A monitoring and...
I've gone over the system, Captain, and it's a mess. All the security modules are cut off from each other. When the curator touched the panel, it set off triggers all over the museum. Somebody had a lot of access to things.
And we don't know who they are, what they want, or how long we have to stop them.
Captain, look at this. A little button for the curator to open the door.
I feel rather bad about this, Captain.
I do too, Scotty, but it's always surprising what you need in an emergency.
I wonder what this is for.
This is a very expensive silver tray. The decanter is nearly full.
Captain, I don't know what we could possibly use this for.
The large lance shows somewhere. There is nothing more to get here.
Captain, what will we do when we get to the other room and the door closes?
Mr. Chekhov, see if you can wedge that knight under the door.
Yes, Captain.
There, that should hold the door open.
The note on the paper reads, Bresnia, VVSOP 2123.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code. Authorization code correct. Warning, malfunction in security authorization. Access denied.
It appears that the terrorists do not want any visitors.
I've looked this beastie over, and the only things we might be able to use are the capacitors. I've taken them out. They'll soak up a wee bit of power before releasing it. Well, it's not like anyone's likely to be using this monstrosity soon, so I pulled out the only things we might be able to use. It's not much, only some heat-resistant wiring and a cable. It's working fine. Just doesn't have anything to control right now.
The Klingon console looks operational, but without a ship attached, it's hard to tell. Written on the plaque, this is a control console from a Klingon warbird, the Klarg, which was salvaged from the battle wreckage near Crimmins 8.
This machine is putting out a fair amount of power.
Lights cascade continually above the surface of this device. Plaques on each side read, "The Vandecourt Aurora generator was donated to this museum by Sir William Loudon." Originally, a university experiment designed to test broadcast power as both a containment system and photostimulation for possible use in a propulsion system, the unit was presented as a gift to Loudon, who liked the way it looked and had recently donated a significant sum to the university. An old-style phaser cannon capacitor. It is currently uncharged.
The capacitor should charge very quickly. The capacitor should charge very quickly.
The plaque reads, "The Niven, non-integrated Vulcan electronumerator, was one of the earliest versions of a Vulcan computer."
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code. Security lock deactivated.
Everything on this pod's too tight. I need the proper tools. I was able to get one loose access panel, but I'm not sure what we can do with it. Most of this is just too massive to move around, but we've got some nice magnetic clamps here. This is a bizarre piece of machinery. I wonder what it was designed for.
The plaque reads, "A failed experiment in Habis robotics. The Green Mark 6 was one of those ideas where the original concept might have been sound, but the follow-ups were too much. Planned as a simple cargo handler, attempts were made at increasing its function and therefore its flexibility. Unfortunately, proposed missions such as security were well beyond its recognition systems and processors. One small piece of lasting notoriety was that the Mark 6 was one of the first Habis robotic uses of room temperature superconducting wiring. While the wiring concept went forward, little else of this robot did."
If we could make it run, maybe we could use it to force the door open.
Interesting idea, Mr. Chekhov. We'll have to keep it in mind. This is not exactly my area of expertise.
An old-style phaser cannon capacitor. It is currently uncharged. Lights cascade continually above the surface of this device. A protective panel salvaged from an escape pod. A standard silver serving tray. A standard 350 micron interface cable. U-shaped magnetic clamps. Normal heat-resistant wires.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Captain, what do you want me to wire the lights to?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Chekhov takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. Chekhov takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. No effect.
I wish Bones were here. He's out, but I can't tell you how bad it is. That has to be one of the most useless robots I've ever seen.
Badly designed, Captain.
It's not going to help us, is it?
Only in a dance contest, Mr. Chekhov.
You take the capacitor out of the robot.
This is not exactly my area of expertise.
There's not a worthwhile circuit in its head, Captain. But the wirings may be helpful at some point.
The capacitor should charge very quickly.
I don't understand what you want me to do, Captain.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code. Authorization code correct. Warning. Malfunction in security authorization. Access denied.
It appears that the terrorists do not want any visitors.
Captain, when you were in school, did you ever make a tennis ball cannon?
Of course, Mr. Scott. It's a dormitory tradition. Empty cans, tape, and a little propellant. If I remember my formula... But what's that got to do with our situation?
I was standing here looking at the cannon and thought maybe we could use the same idea to get through that wee door.
We're going to knock down the door with a tennis ball.
I'm sure Scotty had something else in mind. You did, didn't you, Mr. Scott?
Aye, Captain. In an engineering dorm, that's for freshmen only. As you move along, you get into bigger and better versions.
We'll use a big tennis ball?
No, laddie. I was thinking, since we cannot fix the phaser here, maybe we could build some sort of mass driver. The capacitors on the cannon can discharge a lot of power in a short burst.
Oh, I remember. Using magnetic fields to propel an object faster and faster.
Don't say it, laddie. You didn't invent them.
Of course not. I was going to say we will need an iron tennis ball.
We'll need to set up a magnetic field before we can place the lance. We'll still have to wire them up, Captain. That's going to be the real job. Captain, I'll need a little help positioning the clamps correctly while wiring them. Captain, push harder. I'll need these tighter to get more power.
I'm giving it all I got, Scotty.
One projectile ready to go, Captain. We still need a control mechanism. It's working fine. Just doesn't have anything to control right now.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
This end's ready, Captain.
I think I'll leave this machine to the experts.
Thank you, Captain. This'll be just like old times.
School must miss you dearly, Mr. Scott.
No effect. No effect. The surface of the generator is a mass of melted wiring and metal. The only glow is from dissipating heat. Check-off takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. Check-off takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator.
The spacesuit.
We made a bit of a mess here, didn't we? We had no choice. Remember, who's really at fault here?
That we will, Captain.
Although badly scuffed, when it was blasted free of the sealing, the gas canister and nozzle look functional.
The curator mentioned these were in each room.
We could open the door and spray it on the terrorists.
If it's fast enough to stop them from using their phasers, it'll stop us too.
And they'd get a warning if the door started to open. Time enough to put the hostages in jeopardy.
The gas canister is a bit beat up from the fall, but still functional.
I don't think McCoy would like this transporter, Captain. Even I would not want to use this one.
You not use a piece of equipment? Why not, Mr. Scott?
This little beastie put out a wee bit of energy discharge during transport. You've heard of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Of course, Mr. Scott.
Well, this is the Mulligan certainty field, guaranteed to do bad things to you even Dr. McCoy cannot fix. You can block the radiation, but she's not something I'd want to play with unless I absolutely had to. You'd have to repair the wires anyway. And the power unit's been pulled out too.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code.
The access panel is stuck, Captain. I don't think any of us are strong enough to pull it free. We can't have it do anything until we get it running. I don't understand what you want me to do, Captain. This is an odd beastie, Captain. I'm not even sure how they powered this thing. It'd take days to begin to understand it.
You've got it?
I'm only human, Captain. There's only a wee bit of juice in this capacitor, but I think it'll be enough to power up the robot. It's a tight squeeze, Captain. I don't think we'll be able to get it back out once it's in. Should I go ahead and do it?
We could use the help, Mr. Scott. Energize the robot. Not yet, Mr. Scott. We may need that power elsewhere. We could use the help, Mr. Scott. Energize the robot. I should get Mr. Scott to look at this.
The access panel is stuck, Captain. I don't think any of us are strong enough to pull it free. Barney, open the pod bay door. I knew it. They forgot to take out the fuel cell. That fusion reactor always scares people enough that they forget the backup cell. It's dry now. You'd need to wet this beauty down and get a catalyst in her.
It probably wouldn't hurt anything to take one crystal. It's just a display after all. This one looks good.
I hate to see a sweet liquid used for something other than tasting, but at least it'll work a fair bit in here. Better than brandies? More than Stums? Look out, fuel cell, here she comes. It's a good thing to build in so much flexibility. The silver isn't a bad catalyst and will act as a contact too.
All hooked up and charging, Captain.
We'd be pressing our luck letting it poke around in there, Captain.
An old-style phaser cannon capacitor. It is currently uncharged. This seems pointless. Written on the plaque, Federation Scientific Probe Model 33119A. The 33119A was powered by a small fusion reactor, since removed. The 33119A had considerable range but was considered slow. The 33119A carried a 3-ton instrument array.
I've used one of these before, Captain. Everyone notices the fusion reactor, but I'll bet they forgot the fuel cell that served as backup power for the instrument packet.
The schematics for a Dunkelberger automated worker Mark 12.
I don't understand what you want me to do, Captain. They were not a bad machine, but sort of an evolutionary dead end.
I don't think we've seen the last of compact mobile automation, Mr. Scott.
I cannot agree, Mr. Chekhov. Automated systems technology makes these robots little better than toys.
But perhaps one day...
There are definitely advantages to having an informed and opinionated crew, but this conversation is not showing it.
If I talk, I can't work or think, Captain.
I hope we get the terrorists soon, Captain. I'm afraid we might be late if we don't hurry.
All ready to go, Captain.
You remove the silver tray.
You think Uhura would like it if we swapped this one for hers?
Scotty, I never took you for having a death wish.
Actually, Captain, this one's not in bad shape. They took the transmitting gear and she's got no power, but other than that, she's in fine condition. They run a ship-shaped museum here.
This reminds me of the time when I was a boy working on my first electronics project. I built one of those old crystal radios. With luck, we'll be able to get this transmitter working. It's been a while, but I think that will work.
All hooked in, Captain.
Gentlemen, we still need to come up with a transmitter.
I rigged up an isolated piece of frame in there as one conducting plate and the tray as the other. It's not the best solution, but it's the best I can do here.
Save new game.
Well, let's see how well this works. Kirk to Enterprise. Kirk to Enterprise. Enterprise, come in.
Who is this?
This is Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you? Whoever you are, call for help. There are terrorists in the museum. This is Captain Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. I'm in the Smithsonian Museum, where hostages are being held.
How interesting. I'm in the Smithsonian Museum holding hostages.
Who am I talking to? You should give up immediately. You have no chance. I'm holding a Corbomite device. Why don't you and I discuss this? Who am I talking to?
My name is Lucas. I'm a member of the Lockean family, Onakan.
I've never heard of the Onakan family.
It's no surprise you haven't heard of us, even though we're one of the largest and oldest families on Lockean. Just shows how much the Federation believes the lies the Soransi pass along.
The Soransi are your enemies? I find it unlikely the Federation will take sides. Of course the Federation backs the Soransi. You don't see them taking hostages and setting traps for museum curators, do you? The Soransi are your enemies? I find it unlikely the Federation will take sides.
If the Federation isn't backing the Soransi, how do you explain a ceremony giving the Soransi the Quelke? Obviously, the Federation believes their lies.
The Kelki? You mean the probe?
It is more than just a probe to us. The Quelke discovered Lockean generations ago. The entire race owes its existence to the Quelke.
I knew it had great significance. I just didn't know there was anyone else involved. This is when the original planet was on the verge of being destroyed? I thought the Soransi ruled your race. Shouldn't they be the ones that controlled the Kelki? I knew it had great significance. I just didn't know there was anyone else involved.
The Soransi presently have control of the communication facilities. They've been restricting access to make their positions seem more powerful.
So you feel you have a legitimate claim on the Kelki? Are they illegally restricting communications or just not listening to a renegade group of terrorists? So you feel you have a legitimate claim on the Kelki?
We have as much claim to that probe as anyone.
It sounds like you have a legitimate grievance. Does the Soransi also have a right to the Kelki? Then why is the museum handing the Kelki over to the Serensi? It sounds like you have a legitimate grievance.
So leave us alone. Let us finish what must be done.
You know we can't let you do that. This is your last warning. Release the hostages now, or suffer the consequences. You know we can't let you do that. This is your last warning. You know we can't let you do that.
And we can't let you stop us. This is something that has to be dealt with.
This is your last warning. Then this situation should be looked into more closely by the Federation. We're here with the best intentions. You want peace? We want peace. This is your last warning. Then this situation should be looked into more closely by the Federation. We're here with the best intentions. You want peace? We want peace.
Is that an offer?
That's a guarantee. Obviously, I'll have to check with my superiors. That's a guarantee.
Then we have a deal. We will turn off the security override and give ourselves up. And trust the word of Captain Kirk.
Mr. Chekhov, have Dr. McCoy beam down to make sure the curator and guards are all right. Mr. Scott, lower the museum's shields and have a security team beamed aboard. Captain's log supplement. The terrorists had already turned off the security override. After putting the 3 Onikons in custody, it was decided that the probe would not be returned to the Serensi. Federation mediators will visit Lakian to assist in the negotiations on the fate of this artifact. The fact that they gave up voluntarily when they could have possibly escaped and injured no one certainly made points for the Onikon's claim. Curator Brezhnev was treated by Dr. McCoy and is in good health. Commendations are in order for Scott and Chekhov for meritorious service. Lieutenant Uhura, send a message to Admiral Richards. Tell him he owes me more than he thinks he does.
Aye, sir. I have a feeling he's not going to be surprised.
I'm afraid I'm going to remember this mission with a great deal of sadness, Captain.
Why is that, Mr. Scott?
It was such a fine cognac, Captain. It was just waiting for us, and now it's gone forever. Such a waste. You always remember the one that got away.
Sure, Scott.
Captain, message incoming from Starfleet.
I see they got our report. On screen.
I've reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. I am very pleased with your performance. It was a perfect mission, Jim. Your reputation as Starfleet's best starship captain is secure. Kane out.
Captain's log, stardate 6169.3. While delivering supplies to outposts near Klingon and Romulan space, we received a distress signal from the Romulan neutral zone.
On screen, Captain.
This is Sub-Commander Guyon of the Warbird Infinitus. We are under attack. Assist us, please.
Transmission jammed at the source, sir. The transmission originated on the Romulan side of the neutral zone.
Captain, this could be a setup. The Romulans might be trying to lure us into a treaty violation.
We can't interfere in Romulan business. Take us to our next mission. Set course Warp Factor 8. I'm not going to ignore a distress call, even if it is a Romulan. We can't interfere in Romulan business. Take us to our next mission. Set course Warp Factor 8. I'm not going to ignore a distress call, even if it is a Romulan. Captain's log supplemental. In answer to a distress signal, we are crossing the Romulan neutral zone in violation of treaty. We are approaching the source of the distress signal.
We are now entering the Romulan neutral zone.
Save new game.
Alright folks, I'm going to end it here. Maybe I'll stream this again later or tomorrow. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care.